This is Dr. Inky.
And this is Raheem Architect Soto with a Millennium 24/7 daily news update.
NBA insider Chris Broussard says Father Time has finally caught up to LeBron James. He is not winning another title. At almost 38 years old, LeBron James is still putting up decent numbers. Through 10 games this season, he's averaging 24.9 points, 8.8 rebounds, and 1.1 steals per game on 45% shooting. Still, despite the numbers, his impact on the game and his activity overall have just looked noticeably different this season. James looks slower and is seemingly unable to carry a team to the playoffs as he did years ago with the Cavaliers. Some people have even started comparing it to MJ's run with the Wizards. And while LeBron is still far from being an ineffective player on the court, Fox Sports' Chris Broussard says his best days are behind him. Quote unquote, the Lakers' season is over. What's also over is LeBron versus Father Time. Father Time has won. That doesn't mean LeBron isn't any good anymore. His numbers, 24, 9, and 7, look great. But the LeBron James we've known and loved is done. LeBron doesn't just put up numbers. That's what separates him and the other all-time elites from everybody else. They put up numbers and they dominate and they win and they impact the game. LeBron's not doing that. He can't do it on the defensive end, and that's part of it. But I'm gonna say this. LeBron is not winning another title. Certainly not as the best player. It's always wise to give LeBron the benefit of the doubt, but it's hard to see how even he comes back from this. At this stage of his career, LeBron shouldn't be having to play hero ball every night to put his team in a position to win. At this point, James just isn't capable of leading the Lakers as he once did. But here's the bad news. They are now 2-7 after 114-100 loss at home to the Cleveland Cavaliers. And 37-year-old LeBron James is playing some of the worst basketball of his career. LeBron doesn't even look like a main option right now, one executive said about the Lakers. Neither does Anthony Davis. The Lakers may be just as bad as last year's 33-win squad. Quite possibly even worse. While calls for a season-saving trade come from virtually all over, new questions are beginning to bubble up. What Laker superstars LeBron James and Anthony Davis are finally declining? What if Lakers superstars LeBron James and Anthony Davis are finally declining in a meaningful way? It's still too early to count out LeBron completely. After all, we've seen him bounce back from all types of challenges. But even if he does start playing like himself again, will it be enough to push the Lakers into a higher tier in the West? Maybe not. But LeBron is going to do everything in his power to find out. Houston Astros general manager James Click will not be given a new contract, a highly unusual move that the team announced Friday, just 6 days after Houston won the World Series. Click was hired from the Tampa Bay Rays before the 2020 season and appeared increasingly distant from owner Jim Crane. The 44-year-old Click did not immediately respond to a request for comment. It's believed to be the first change in general manager following a World Series title since 1947, when the Yankees' Larry McPhail was replaced by George Weiss. Click said Tuesday at the general managers meeting in Las Vegas that his contract expired October 31st and the situation had not been addressed. He also said that he was given little advance notice of Wednesday's news conference, where the Astros announced that manager Dusty Baker was coming back on a one-year contract. Click wouldn't respond Tuesday when asked by reporters whether he had been offered a one-year contract, and he answered indirectly when asked whether autonomy over baseball operations was an issue. All of us always want to have areas of responsibility in areas that we can call our own, in areas that we can take pride in, he said. Inevitably, any of these jobs, these decisions are multi-million-dollar decisions, and ownership is going to be involved. It's just a question of degree. Crane was asked about Click's status multiple times Wednesday and said the two were in discussions. Crane also was asked how he would evaluate the job Click had done since taking over after Jeff Leno was fired in the wake of the team's sign stealing scandal. We're going over that, Crane said, but I think James has done a good job. He stepped in and made some good moves. We'll sit down and see where we're going to end up with James. After that, Crane was asked whether he thought the organization was better off now with Click at the helm. I've run a lot of businesses. This one is no different. I'm never satisfied. If I was satisfied, maybe we wouldn't be where we are. But I press everybody to get better from top to bottom, so I'm always looking to improve, and I can improve. The people on my team can improve, and the players can improve. So the standard is there for everyone. Click spent 14 years with the Rays, starting as a coordinator of baseball operations before becoming the team's director of baseball research and development and director of baseball operations. He spent 3 seasons as vice president of baseball operations before Houston hired him. NBA Nets owner Joe Tsai meets with Kyrie Irving as union expects resolution between the sides soon. Suspended Brooklyn guard Kyrie Irving and the Nets appear to be on a path toward reconciliation, though it remains unclear when the 7-time All-Star will return to the court. Nets owner Joe Tsai said Friday that he and his wife Clara spent time with Kyrie Irving and his family, and came away from that meeting convinced that Kyrie Irving does not have anti-Semitic beliefs. We spent quality time to understand each other, and it's clear to me that Kyrie does not have any beliefs of hate towards Jewish people or any group, Tsai wrote. Also Friday, the National Basketball Players Association told its members in an email that it expects the Irving situation to be resolved soon. It also thanked players for their patience and what the union described as thoughtful comments. The past couple of weeks in regard to Irving have been trying. We believe the careful pause and reflection have started to pay off, the union said in the email, a copy of which was obtained by the Associated Press. Irving was suspended by the Nets earlier this month for a minimum of 5 games, saying he was currently unfit to be associated with the team, following his decision to tweet a link to a documentary that includes Holocaust denial and conspiracy theories about Jews, and then not swiftly condemning the anti-Semitic tropes. The tweet has since been deleted. Irving has served 4 games of that suspension. The 5th is Saturday. When the Nets visit the Los Angeles Clippers, that means the first game Irving could be eligible is when the Nets play the LA Lakers on Sunday. But no one has given any indication that a decision has been made regarding when Irving, a vice president of the NBPA, may return. The Nets and Kyrie, together with the NBA and NBPA, are working constructively toward a process of forgiveness, healing, and education, Tsai wrote. Nets coach Jacques Vaughn spoke to reporters after practice in New York on Friday, shortly before Tsai's tweet. Vaughn said there was no update on Irving's return to play status. The Nets were flying to Los Angeles on Friday afternoon. Some content of that union's email to members were first reported to ESPN. We have maintained from the beginning and will continue to repeat every chance we get that Irving and the Players Association unequivocally condemn anti-Semitism and all other forms of hate, the union wrote. It added, we continue to make sure that Kyrie's rights and the rights of all future players have been protected at every turn, and look forward very soon to a resolution of all matters satisfactory to all parties. NBA Commissioner Adam Silver said he has no doubt that Irving is not anti-Semitic. Those remarks were made Thursday at a conference hosted by Sports Business Journal. Silver and Irving met in New York earlier this week. In a subsequent interview with the New York Times, Silver stressed that whether Irving is anti-Semitic is far from the lone issue, noting the damage caused by the posting of hateful content. The fallout has had an impact. Fans wearing Fight Anti-Semitism shirts sat courtside at a Nets game that Kyrie Irving played in. Nike suspended its relationship with Irving and canceled its plans to release his next signature shoe. Nike co-founder Phil Knight told CNBC earlier this week that the relationship was likely severed for good for some statements that we just can't abide by. Irving has offered an apology to all Jewish families and communities that were hurt by his post. Argentina, Chile, Paraguay, and Uruguay confirmed a joint bid to host the 2030 World Cup when their government officials signed documents in Santiago on Friday to present to FIFA. This is the first legal step we need to take to bid at FIFA, said Pablo Milad, president of the Chilean Football Association. The 4 nations want to celebrate the centennial of the World Cup where it began. Uruguay hosted the first tournament in 1930 with 13 teams. Uruguay also won the first title after beating Argentina 4-2 in the finals. The South American bidders plan to offer 18 stadia, including Uruguay's Centenario Stadium, site of the first World Cup final. We have a deficit in infrastructure in South America in comparison with Europe. Milad said. But that will not be a hurdle for us to work from now to improve. Chile's sports minister Alejandro Bernardo said, representatives of the four nations will meet in Argentina within 90 days to choose permanent directors for the joint bid. The United States, Mexico, and Canada will hold the 2026 World Cup. FIFA will make a decision about the 30-30 host in 2024.
Khalif Battle got lost in a swarm of delirious Temple students that mobbed the court in celebration of one of the program's wildest wins in years. Temple was one of the big-time programs, Battle said. We're just trying to bring it back to that. Bring our name back. This is a big deal. Dunn sank the first free throw for a 65-64 lead, and Villanova called timeout to ice the sophomore guard. Temple security guards lined the court in anticipation of the mayhem ahead, and Dunn delivered. He hit the second of two free throws, and Temple Zach Hicks intercepted the inbound pass, and hundreds of fans swarmed the court. The public address announcer ordered fans to clear the court, saying the game was not over, even as 0.0 remained on the frozen scoreboard. It turns out a foul was called on Villanova's Eric Dixon, and Hicks went to the free throw line with 0.2 on the clock and hundreds of Temple students stuffed behind the other basket, ready to sprint out again. Hicks made both, and Villanova called one final timeout. Temple players high-fived impatiently, and fans also tried to keep their peace as they were contained off on the side of the court. When the game finally ended, it was Temple Court Storm Take 2. Temple coach Aaron McKee earned his signature win in his 4 seasons on the bench. The Owls beat a top 25 team for the first time since they topped number 16 Wichita State 65-52 on January 15, 2020. It's great for the players to see that the college energy that these kids go play college basketball for, McKee said. Dunn led the Owls 1-1 with 22 points, and Battle had 21. Caleb Daniels led Villanova with 19 points, and Dixon had 18. Villanova averaged 26 three-point attempts per game last season, but shot only 2 of 7 against Temple. The Owls denied shots on the perimeter and forced the Wildcats to try passes into the paint, which they hit with mixed results. St. Joseph's, Villanova, LaSalle, Penn, Temple had its own rivalry games intertwined in the fabric of Philadelphia sports for more than 60 years. The Big Five, though, lost its shine over the last decade as the Wildcats turned into national power, and other 4 teams could not keep pace. The pandemic wiped out the annual matchup each of the last 2 seasons, and this was the first meeting since Villanova win on February 16, 2020. The Owls hadn't won in a series since December 15, 2012, when Fran Dunphy was still the coach. Villanova had won 7 straight in the series by an average of 18 points. Battle, healthy after missing nearly all of last season with a broken foot, hit a 3, then converted a 4-point play for a 24-11 lead. The Wildcats were off their game in Neptune's second game since he replaced retired Hall of Fame Jay Wright. Villanova closed on an 11-3 run and trailed 34-29. The Wildcats played without expected starters Justin Moore, out indefinitely with a torn Achilles, and preseason Big East Freshman of the Year Cam Whitmore with a right thumb injury. Villanova returns home Monday to play Delaware State, while Temple hosts Vanderbilt on Wednesday. Deshaun Watson, the Cleveland Browns' suspended quarterback, can begin practicing on Monday as part of his settlement with the NFL after he was accused of sexual misconduct by 24 women when he played for Houston. Watson, who was acquired by the Browns in a controversial trade in March, was banned for 11 games in August for violating the league's personal conduct policy. He agreed to the suspension and a $5 million fine and undergoing counseling and treatment. He returned to the team last month, but the three-time Pro Bowler has been limited to attending meetings, weight room workouts, and conditioning sessions with members of Cleveland's training staff. That changes on Monday when he'll be allowed to practice. The Browns, 3-5, play Miami on Sunday and won't have their next on-field workout until Wednesday when Watson, who will be eligible to play on December 4th against Houston, can rejoin his teammates.
The NFL plans to play more regular season games in Germany, possibly sooner than expected. League Commissioner Roger Goodell told the fan forum in Munich on Saturday that the NFL will stage at least 4 games in Germany through 2025. The current agreement includes Sunday's first game in Germany plus an annual game over the next 3 seasons, with Munich and Frankfurt each hosting twice. In our commitment, we're going to play the next 4 years at least and with at least 4 games, Goodell said ahead of Sunday's game between the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and Seattle Seahawks at Allianz Arena. I wouldn't be surprised if it expanded beyond that at some point soon. The commissioner didn't take questions from the media, but his comments could reflect both the New England Patriots and Kansas City Chiefs are lobbying for next year's game. There are also questions about the availability of Azteca Stadium in Mexico City in 2023. Azteca, which will host the San Francisco 49ers and Arizona Cardinals on November 21st, could be under renovation next year in preparation for the 2026 World Cup.
Drew Timmy likened it to the feeling of playing hoops in the park as a kid, only this time it was on the flight deck of one of the world's most powerful warships. Timmy led the number 2 Gonzaga in a spirited comeback from a 12-point deficit, finishing with 22 points, 13 rebounds as the Bulldogs beat Michigan State 64-63 Friday night on the USS Abraham Lincoln at North Island Naval Air Station. It's definitely something different. It's something you don't experience every day, Timmy said. I think growing up playing in the park is something that helped us. And look, they had to play on it too. It wasn't the prettiest game to watch, but it was just put your nose in the dirt and keep going and don't stop. I thought it was a true test of our grit and heart, and I think we did a good job of answering the bell today. Timmy twice gave the Zags the lead in the final 2 minutes and 27 seconds. His inside shot made it 63-61 before Malik Hall answered with a hook to tie it. The Zags scored just one more point when Timmy made the second of 2 free throws with 1:51 left. Gonzaga's Julian Strother was called for traveling with 31 seconds left, and Michigan State's Jaden Atkins missed a desperation three-pointer just before the buzzer. Gonzaga is who Gonzaga is because they're really good, Spartans coach Tom Izzo said, but they've got a go-to guy down the stretch. That guy, he just rose up, and that's what he's supposed to do. I want to feel so good about the setting, our fans, the veterans, the way our team played, but how do you feel good when you lose a game when you led for 30 minutes, Izzo said. It's hard to do. Timmy had a tied game with 55 with a three-point play, and Bolton tied it again at 59 with a big three-pointer. Strother had 13 points and 9 rebounds, and Nolan Hickman scored 10 for Gonzaga. Michigan State big man Matty Cisco scored 10 of his 14 points in the first half, but committed his third foul early in the second half and didn't have much of an impact for the rest of the game. The Spartans, 1-1, led 45-33 3 minutes into the second half before Timmy and the Zags went on an 11-0 run to pull 45-44. Timmy made a spin move layup, was fouled, and made the free throw, and then led Razir Bolton for a baseline jumper to close within 3 points. Tyson Walker made a layup with 12-10 to break MSU's 5-minute scoring drought. Timmy's three-point play tied it at 55, and then Bolton hit a three-point shot for a 59-59 tie with 3:54 left. As impressive as he overall was, Timmy made just 4 of 10 free throws and could have given the Zags a cushion late in the game.
The game was played 11 years to the day after North Carolina beat Michigan State on the flight deck of the USS Carl Vinson at North Island NAS, with then President Barack Obama and wife Michelle watching courtside. The teams wore camouflage uniforms with USA on the back. Just before the second half began, the crowd rose for the retiring of the flag at sunset. The crowd of 3,000 was made up mostly of sailors from the aircraft carrier as well as fans from both teams. Michigan State led 38-31 at halftime, largely on the strength of the powerful inside game by the 6'9" Cisco. Cisco had 3 slam dunks in the final 5 minutes of the half, including on an alley-oop pass from A.J. Hoggard. His final 2 dunks helped the Spartans take control. Michigan State had consecutive steals, which had coach Tom Izzo emphatically pumping his fist. Neither team was afraid to hoist 3-pointers, and each team made a shot from behind the arc in the first 2 minutes.